Hi, Natasha. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Hey, that image I love it. That's so much fun. What were you thinking when you saw it?
Well, it's about attracting people. Oh, we didn't introduce ourselves properly, did we?
What
It's Paul Palmer and Natasha Todorovic Cowan. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to you, Paul, and Happy New Year to everyone too.
So it's about attracting people, attracting the right people, I suppose, to the roles that you've got. Because one of the problems that we have in quality departments often, and and I suppose in the areas where you're giving people the more controlled tasks, is getting people to come and take the job because they see it as the same as what they've always done, what they've done before, rather than being going to a role where they're going to be developed, where they're going to use their skills. Um, which I suppose brings us to your TED talk that you're going to be recording soon about the invisible employee, I think it's called, or something like that.
I am very excited about my TEDx talk, Paul, and it is about the invisible human. And what we found on the workplace is that most people are only giving about 35 to 40% of their potential and talent to their work. And it's not because they don't want to, because more and more people are becoming self potential aware. What's happening is they want to give their potential, they want to give their talent and their gifts and make contributions. But the workplace, the managers, the people around them are saying, no, we want that much and no more. And it's frustrating. And they're seeing their lives kind of go down this drain, and they're frustrated. They feel like they're failing because they're only playing with one arm, and the other arm is behind their back.
That reminds me of the other talk we did, the other discussion about the team management and valuing the team. And I do find a lot of the time I work with senior managers who want to just tell people what to do. They don't want people to think.
Why don't people just do what I tell them to do? It would be so
Yeah.
much easier.
Well, it also makes me think of the lost opportunity though, because if you remember, we talked about the guy with a PhD who was operating a machine, moving from there to there. He was being used as a pair of hands when he had a PhD that he could be using to actually improve the process instead.
Yeah, I think the message in that, which is the message of my talk, is that we humans are mostly invisible to one another. And with that invisibility, so much talent is lost, so much potential is lost. Now, if you had a machine sitting on the factory floor and it was working at 35, 40% capacity, you do everything you could to make it work at 100% capacity. Well, we're not doing that with humans. And the amazing thing with humans is we expand our capacity, unlike a normal machine.
Yeah.
So the talent with management needs to be seeing that human potential, growing it, and encouraging it to show up, because it's so easy to shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what mostly happens in a lot of the relationships on the factory floor between employees, management and employees, senior leaders with management. We are very good at shutting one another down, but not at opening one another up to our potential.
That's interesting because it reminds me of one of the colleagues I used to work with. He told me about how his time at GSK. Hopefully they don't complain about me talking about them, but hey, what if they do? So he was doing, basically he told me he was doing bare minimum, that he had to keep his job
Yeah.
because he'd been so tightly controlled. He wasn't allowed to improve things. He wasn't allowed to improve processes. He had his training. He had to follow the procedure. had to do as he was told day after day. I think they put him through some disciplinary when he, this, I don't know if I should share this. So one of the things about GSK, you have to walk the right side of the coloured line, literally. And he got disciplined for walking the wrong side.
Yeah, the point is, you know, we've got that much, but organizations are saying give that much. Don't color outside the line. Think outside the box, but not that far. And people quit, they give up, they push, they try, they do their best to make a bigger contribution. They see problems, and over time, they're shut down. They're told to get back in their box, and they're asked for that minimum. So he's not an outlier. That's what happens in most organizations. And that's not what people go to the job for. So you might have attracted the right people, the perfect people, but they're not contributing because what we've done is we've created cultures that curtail the capacity of the people that we've brought on board. Sure, there are people who are absolutely wrong for the job, and getting them in the right places, the right people in the right places on the bus sitting to the right next people is a different conversation. The conversation we're having is you've attracted the right people. Now you're telling them not to contribute and then saying they're the wrong people.
Because you don't want them to do what they can do. And because you don't want them to do it, they don't deliver.
Yeah, they are delivering exactly what they're asked for. There's only so many punishments and discouragements most people can take before they say, you know what, I'll give you exactly what you want. Here you go. There's my 35, 40%. That's all you asked for.
I can really relate to that in a company that I left. So I was in a qualified person role. Now the QP role, you have to be heavily qualified to get it in the first place. And I was basically day after day sitting there signing a document, reviewing and signing documents. Whereas what I should have been there doing was what I'd done in the first 6 months when I was there, which was looking at the processes, improving the systems, improving the processes, continuous development of what the company needed.
And which one would have been more fun and more satisfying for you?
Well, exactly. That's why I left, because once I'd finished the projects and they didn't want me to continue to help them to actually develop their efficient systems so that they could become more efficient, they were at the point where all of the work that they wanted doing, all of the contribution, the validation, the improved system dynamics that they wanted doing was all finished. And
they thought it was right person, right role, and asking you to contribute.
Yeah.
And that's
I was expecting it to take about 2 or 3 years, and I finished everything in 6 months. And then I got bored.
Yeah.
I got bored because I like having an interesting role.
Yeah.
And I've seen other people.
So you are not just a pair of hands.
Yeah. So that contributes then to the high turnover, which is seen in many companies, in every department. At some time or other, you get the high turnover. If you're not engaging your team, they move on.
And that is why we have such poor engagement numbers.
Yeah.
I can see you're thinking. So I think they're going to be thinking too.
I am, but unfortunately, we're out of time for today. So we're going to have to come back to it on another time. So I'll talk to you soon, Natasha.
Have a good one, Paul. It was fun. I love that image.
Yeah. So that's Paul Palmer and Natasha Todorovic-Cohen. Talk to you soon.